Hey girl, hey, welcome back to the Wealth and Wellness Podcast by All Women Rock. Did you get the opportunity to listen to part one of our interview with Erin Elizabeth Downing? Well, on today, we have the great opportunity to hear part two of our interview with Erin as she continues to discuss her expertise in Kundalini Yoga, as well as giving us some insight about her new book, Kundalini Yoga Demystified. It is a great book. It was very eye-opening for me. As I mentioned before, I'm very new to yoga and learning Kundalini Yoga, and so her book breaks everything down. So if you have not had the opportunity, I would highly suggest that you go back and listen to part one of our interviews right before this episode, and then come back and listen to part two of our interview with Erin Elizabeth Downing. Let's go. Welcome to the Wealth and Wellness All Women Rock podcast, hosted by me, Tamara, the CEO and founder of All Women Rock Global. Join me on this journey as we explore topics, conversations, and interviews related to wealth and wellness. Let's get started.
Growing up, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of whom they would be. And think about the difference that might have made to say, it's okay to not feel comfortable with this. I'm here for you regardless. I love you regardless. You are whole and perfect exactly as you are.
Yes, I love that. And I need to actually do that. I never thought about it that way. So thank you for sharing that with me. I do need to do it.
Give the love to yourself first. You are whole and perfect just as you are. You are.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And as I was kind of reading the book, I know for me personally, I use Google to help me with certain things and certain terminology that I can't pronounce. I like to tell my kids Google is my best friend. So I truly appreciated the definitions that you have, especially in the beginning of the book. And I one of them that you kind of went over, my favorite that I read was, I'm going to let you pronounce it because I know I'm going to chop it up sideways. Is it Kyra, K-Y?
The Kriyas?
Huh?
The Kriyas? Krya?
Yeah. And how do you pronounce it?
Kriya?
Kriya?
Mm-hmm. Hey, girl, you got it.
It's interesting. Kriya. Okay. And it says performing Kriya means that there's one or more posture in the series. And I think I want to learn more about I should have. It's Subagh. Yeah. And it says bringing forth wealth and prosperity. Before we kind of dive deep into that, can you explain more about the Kriya to us?
Yeah. So Kriyas in general are just a way of, all yoga is a science. You know, as we move forward in this world where people are starting to understand a lot of things, Eastern and Western teachings are melding, and science, whether it's, ancient Chinese medicine or Ayurveda or all of these ancient sciences that people have known for thousands upon thousands of years, is starting to merge with the actual science. Think about, the neuroscience, all of these things where our society is doing from a different perspective and coming in the center, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that totally tracks. People are tracking people in meditation and the neuroscience behind it. And all of these things are happening where we can now quantify a lot of this. So first and foremost, all yoga is literally a science, and Kundalini yoga is very specific in the fact that, like, the Kriyas, I'm giving quotes, is specific postures, etc., breath work, things that are done with a specific intention in mind. So you can go to any Kundalini yoga studio anywhere in the world, and if somebody tells you that you are going to do meditation to heal addictions, it will be in the same and every place everywhere, because it is a science behind the Kriya that is working to, quote unquote, heal addictions based on the yogic science from thousands and thousands of years ago. It will be spoken differently. You might be sitting on something different. You might be in a different location. There might be different languages, but the actual Kriya will be the same. So Subagh Kriya is kind of The reason why, okay, first off, Super Korea is magic. It is so good. It's 20 minutes. So it's super aggressive if you're going to dive into it, but why not go big or go home and just like go ham on the whole thing? But it is like a lot of arm movements and you will get tired and you'll be like, what the heck is this thing? But at one point, you're raising your arms in a V in the air and you're moving them and spinning them, squeezing your thumbs, squeezing your fists like a blood from a stone, like squeezing hard. And you're chanting, God, God, God. And I kind of just like to go in with it because I'm like, yo, if you can do Super Kriya, you can do anything. Because most people are like, I'm going to yell God chanting in a room with people. It's only one part of it. It's one part of the Kriya. But I'm like, look, if you can just get that out of the way, you can do any other Kundalini exercise because there's nothing that gets more kooky than that, right? There's nothing that will make you, I don't know of a thing that will make you more uncomfortable, as in stepping outside of your comfort zone, than sitting in a meditation posture with your arms in the air, turning them around in a circle, chanting God with all these other people in this room that you don't know. Right. So if you can do that, you can do anything. Truly.
Yeah.
And Super Kriya is just amazing. Like it is, I can't even say enough about it. Like it's phenomenal. It just makes you feel great. It gives you pretty good arms because you really are chanting and flailing your arms with intention. It's got breath work and it's just this really beautiful manifestation. And when I talk about Kundalini in general, having the energy behind it, that we all fill up our cups, we all have enough abundance so that we can pour outwards into others. Like there's a meditation for abundance and prosperity, and we do it intentionally. Right? To bring in those opportunities into our lives. And, you know, the universe is probably throwing those opportunities about at us regardless. We're just not present enough and grounded enough to notice them first, receive them. And our aura is not big and expansive enough to be able to hold them when they come. So let's think about this in a completely different way. Think about all the people who win the lottery and lose their money within a year, right? Millions of dollars. Oh, my life will change if I win millions of dollars, but their life doesn't change. Their life gets worse actually, because they take it, they spend it on all these material things that they don't need, that society has told them that they need. And then it's gone. People come out of the woodworks. Those people, they don't protect their energy, right? People who don't have their best intentions are coming out of the woodworks, taking from them. And within a year or two, they're right back to where they were, if not in a more dire situation. Like by doing these exercises and asking for abundance, we're expanding our auric field. We're expanding the energy around us so that when those opportunities come, we can hold them, we can keep them, and we can use them for good, not evil, right? Like we can call in this abundance with the intention of filling up our cup, being able to hold this larger energy, being able to walk through this world with this greater experience and this greater presence. Think about the people in old school Hollywood that make it, can hold it and stay true, and the people that make it really, really quickly and then spiral out really, really fast. Same energetic thing. Call in all this abundance, and then it comes and you don't have the space in your being, in your aura, in your support system, and the truth of who you are, that you can hold all of that and still be you. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. So it's important to know that like, it's not just about calling in abundance for a material thing. It's about expanding our being, expanding our aura, expanding the energy and life force around us so that when those experiences come, not only are we present enough to acknowledge them, are we present and ready and sovereign enough in our own bodies to receive them? But we have the energetic space to hold them with gentle hands, not with a tight fist, right? We're not holding on to this experience for dear life, worried from a lack mentality that it might go away. We're holding it with soft, gentle hands, knowing that it can come and go and flow freely in and out. And we're just going to keep expanding, keep growing, and more opportunities will come. It's like, think of boundaries. I heard somebody use the concept of boundaries as like a chain link fence instead of a concrete wall. I think of it a little bit more, because I'm more hippy dippy than that. So I think of it a little bit more kind of like a porous, like amoeba bubble around me. I literally envision like this porous kind of amoeba like bubble that flows like almost like through water. Cause I think of amoeba and that kind of that visual more as like this like slimy, kids play with Play-Doh, slimy kind of thing, right? Like that moves and can squeeze and can move and expands in some areas and gets bigger in others. And is constantly doing that dance where sometimes things come in and then other things gently go out. Like we're constantly having this interaction with everyone around us. And there are opportunities that come in and opportunities that leave. And it's about calling in that abundance and trusting that the right opportunities and the right thing for our highest and best and the highest and best for all will stay and present themselves what they need to. And those that no longer serve us will gently leave. And it's that dance, right? It's that dance with, there's no like, oh, I need all the money and it comes and I hold on to it tightly and I don't want it to leave and all these things. It's like, no, releasing the control for that, knowing that you are divine, abundant human being. And if this opportunity comes and brings you some abundance and then it gently flows away, like let it go. Something bigger and something greater is coming, and that you can continue to dance with it and continue to say, this is not for my highest and best. I ask it to leave. I send it into the light, regardless of what it is, and through doing something like Subha Kriya, especially if we're doing it in community, it's the last exercise in the book for a reason, because it is the most hippy dippy, like Kundalini kind of one that like I put it at the end, because everything else is pretty much 3 5-minute exercises, stuff you can do really lickety split. But I do want to say one of the first things I talk about in the book is about how consistency compounds. So if you're really working on doing anything in your life, anything, it doesn't matter if it's, one of the benefits of honestly, like meditation to heal addictions is you will notice you are not as mean to yourself, because all of us are addicted to negative self-talk. So addictions don't have to be alcohol, drugs, overeating, any of these, binging TV, any of these things that society deems an addiction. You can be addicted to talking really nasty to yourself, right? Like there are so many other internal vibrational things that we do that are addictive. And I say that because I don't know why that just popped in my head, but I felt called to say that one part out loud. But the whole point about consistency compounds is if you do anything 3 minutes a day, meditation to heal addiction, 3 minutes a day, right? Do it not just for 10 days, not just for 40 days, do it for a whole season, truly, because we're all connected to nature. And one of the things that yoga science really makes this connection to is, every woman has a full moon cycle, right? The moon is 28 days. The cycle of the moon, new moon, full moon, new moon again is 28 days. Most women's cycle, their moon, quote unquote, is 28 days, right? We all flow and ebb with the universe in divine synchronicities, right? And in ways that we don't realize. And a season takes a full death and rebirth every 3 months, right? It takes both. There's a whole energy shift in the world, from temperature to the flowers, to the birds, to the trees, to how everything works, how the waves crash and come in and out, and if we're going to give Mother Nature the grace to go through a full death and rebirth 4 times a year, we should at the very least give ourselves the grace and the timing to go through that full death and rebirth in that same 4 times a year, 3-month cycle. So if we're going to commit to something, why do you think so many New Year's resolutions fail, right? Like, because we expect to have lost 10 pounds in a month. And then even if we lose 10 pounds in a month, we're like, did it. Okay. Right. Like, got it. And then we don't realize, like, well, that's not going to stick unless we do it full for a minimum of full season. And if you're further on your journey, like older in life, those habits have been ingrained in you for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years. So it's going to take longer than a season, because you've got to unlearn, and then you've got to relearn, and then you've got to let your body recalibrate, and then it's got to find a new normal. So if you are 50 years old and have never eaten healthy, have never had a daily regimen, have never eaten meditation, why in the world would it not take an entire year to make a change that will be with you for the duration of your life, when you have been 50 years on this planet doing something completely different?
Yeah. I love that. Because I talk to people different times, and there's some people like, well, it's not working. I'm like, it's stuff doesn't change in 7 days or 5 days or 10 days. I was recently talking to a cousin of mine, and she was saying, we were talking about like weight loss, and she was like, I've been doing it for like 2 weeks and I'm like, it doesn't work like that. You've been doing certain things, and it even works with finances. Sometimes we tend to think that our finances can be better because we do a budget for maybe a month. No, if you've been having the same bad money habits, you've been eating horrible for however many years, it's not going to happen. It's going to take time. It truly takes time.
I love that you said the financing, because truly, 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 I probably didn't reiterate this effectively enough, but like money is energy, right? It is an energetic exchange. When it doesn't mean that like, if you raise your self-worth, that you like all of a sudden need to charge X amount of dollars. It's like, it is a lot of times it's the energy behind it. If you know your worth and you know that this is your worth without being greedy, right? You should feel called to properly ask for your worth and your finances, because you are asking for the energy exchange of how you're going to show up. You know yourself, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why it feels disingenuous where somebody who's not going to do anything asks for like the corner office and the things. It's like, no, it's not that you haven't earned it. It's like that you're not there. Like, you're not going to show up in the way that is in alignment. I don't even want to use the word deserving. Like, you're not in alignment with that energy exchange. And bring it back to the losing weight thing. You'll notice that a lot of the people who are, and maybe it's just because I'm in LA now, and a lot of the people who are in the fitness world are also bred into this kind of spirituality world, because I mean, there's part of the reason why I'm here, right? There's so much interconnectivity, and like everybody's auras are melding, and there's so many people who are like spiritual and fitness and wellness and food and nutrition, and everyone's kind of interchanging. But people, there's a saying among people who are especially like trainers or in the fitness world and teach these more, what most people would presume it, result-based things. And it isn't, right? Because it's all about the energy behind it. But the saying goes like, you will see it and you will feel it in a month, right? You personally, others will see it in 2, and you'll hear it in 3.
I love that.
So
you'll put it that way.
So you'll notice, I'm butchering it because I'm not saying it because it's not my phrase, right? But the whole concept behind it is like, a month in, you'll notice a shift, right? End of January, you're on your diet kick, right? You're doing your diet, you're doing your thing. You're like, okay, lost 5 pounds, like feeling good. Like, all right, I can do this. You keep it up. Well, first off, we should talk about how that goes from the subconscious to the conscious, if we want to talk about the yogic science, why that doesn't work and why people fail. But to stay on track, other people will start to notice if you keep up with it. And 2, like, oh yeah, something about you different. Like, oh, like they'll start to notice a little change. You'll have a little pep in your step, right? You'll start to feel a little different. You've like committed for 2 months. Maybe your pants fit a little bit looser, and they're like, oh, something looks different. By the time you get to 3 months, people are like, oh, okay. Right. And other people will be like, oh, did you see? Like, right. And it takes, again, a full death and rebirth. So it's not this is what I mean about the yogic science and why I geek out on it so much. Cause I'm like, gosh, that makes so much sense. Like, who am I to be better than Mother Nature? She knows what she's doing. I'm just this little seed on this ball spinning in like the infinite cosmos. Who am I to think that I can hack the system?
Yeah.
Like, come on. No? Like, of course. Like, all right, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by 3 months, if you're on your program, to your point, or all of a sudden your finances are better or whatever that you're doing, other people will be like, okay. And it's not just because, I want to highlight, it's not just because of the physical difference. Like, sure, your arms may be a little bit more cut. Maybe your pants don't fit as tight, like all of these things. But there's an energy, to bring it back to the spiritual, right? There is an energetic shift that happens when you make that intention and you set that intention and you create that practice to pay yourself first in that way, especially if you do it from a loving, kind, respectful, I am not losing weight because I feel shame. I am saying, I want to be able to run with my kids more, right? I want to be here for my grandkids. Like, I want to feel good in my body so that I show up in a kind and loving and respectful way to myself first, but also to my family, to my kids, to my neighbors. Like, when you make the change, not from the outcome, not from the goal, not from like, in 3 months, I will be a size 4, but from the place of like, I want to shift this energy in my life for good. That is when you will make the change that will change and stay with you for the rest of your life. And why these exercises and stuff are so powerful is anybody can take 3 minutes out of your day. So if you do nothing else from this podcast, but freaking buy the book or not, Google meditation to heal addictions. Like, I am not here. I hope you buy it because I know it will help you. But like, you know what? If you don't, God bless you. Like, I am no judgment, right? Google, get on the YouTubes, ask Tamara's best friend Google and say meditation to heal addictions. And you will learn how to do one of the easiest things that you could ever do, that you can literally, you don't have to chant. You don't have to make any weird breath works. You don't have to flail your arms around. You can literally sit your booty up on your pillow, partner, dog, children, whoever is laying next to you or not laying next to you, right, will not know. Sit your booty up on your pillow before you put your feet on the ground, before you grab for your phone, before you do anything else. And you give yourself the gift of meditation, heal addiction for 3 minutes every single day for 1 season. I guarantee you your life will never be the same. Never. You will have made a permanent change in your life that will continue to ripple from here until the end of this incarnation and into the next.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
I did see that in the book. So you guys, be sure you purchase. The link will be listed in the in the show notes for you guys to be able to purchase the book. But that is listed in there talking about healing addictions. I did want to kind of go back to when you were talking about the conscious and the subconscious. If you can kind of explain that to us and how it kind of relates to Kundalini yoga.
Yes. So one of the reasons why people say they can't meditate, I believe, or my experience with dialogue with most people, and again, we all show up with different energies. So this is the predominance of the conversations that I have. It does not mean that this is true for everyone, but people say there's a big stigma out there that in order to meditate, you need to quiet your mind. Let's be honest. Like, I am not an enlightened master, right? I've got stuff going on. I've got things to do. I've got bills to pay. I've got needs of my own, needs of my pup, needs of my friends, needs of my family. Like, we've got stuff to do, right? The likelihood that I am going to be able to quiet my mind ever is like maybe for a couple minutes, but like as a general practice, dip in and be in this void of nothingness is pretty much probably not going to happen to me in this lifetime. Maybe I'll get there a couple more, incarnations down. Like, if I keep doing all this stuff from this world into the next, but like this time around, probably not going to be my jam. So when we actually dip into that meditative state for the first time, so we do 90%, 80, 90, whatever the statistic is today, of our actions from a place of subconscious thought. Our programming, our family of origin, traumas, this world and the last, like all of these things factor in to who and what we are and how we show up in the world and how we respond to certain situations. And a lot of that's run from our subconscious programming. So the reason why any form of meditation technique, of meditation like Kundalini or otherwise, is so powerful is because when we make that connection, we kind of break that barrier between the subconscious and the subconscious comes forward. So all of that junk that you hear, the second you finally close your eyes and try to dip into a meditation, has been playing like a record or a tape or a CD or a Spotify or a speaker, whatever it is in the background. It's like you're on your internal iPod, right? Like, if I'm showing my age because I don't even think they make iPods anymore, right? Like, it is on that in the background all the time, and it is influencing every decision you make.
Yeah.
So when we quiet our mind for the first time and that comes to the surface, people were like, what? Like, oh my God, the dry cleaner and the thing. And they're like, oh, my husband pissed me off because he did this daggone thing. And then you're like, oh, did I remember to wait, is the candle still on or did I turn off that curling iron? I'm like, oh, how can we solve world hunger? And you're just like, what? And you're like, why did I just think about my boyfriend from second grade? And like, I wonder what he's doing now. And you're just like, seriously?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is happening? And it's going like 100 miles per hour. And you're just like, oh my gosh. You're like, can you chill? Like, what is happening? But that is your subconscious that's like, finally, like, yes, all right, listen to me. We only have a couple minutes. So I'm just going to tell you all the things that we're thinking about, and then you're going to know about it, and then you're going to be able to do it, and we're good, right? Good. And you're just like, whoa. You're like,
yeah, right.
Take a chill pill. How about you take a breath? And like, who the heck invited you to the party?
Right.
You know, and you're just like, holy crap. And so most people are like, I can't do it. I can't quiet my mind. It's like, so once you see, you can't unsee, right? Once you hear, you can't unhear. Once you learn, you can't unlearn. Once that subconscious knows that you can hear it and it's there, it's like floodgates open, game over. You might as well address it. It's like your child that's going, mommy, mom. And you're like, I'm on the phone, honey. Mom, we're having an adult conversation here. Mommy, did I tell you, like, you need to wait? And then you're finally like, yes, darling. Okay, great. I'll be with you in a minute. Right? Like it's like that. You're like, look, just like I said, give me a minute. And it's going to be there and it's going to keep nagging at you and because it's like, oh my God, they can hear me now. They see me now. Like, okay, great. So eventually those first couple of times, it could be the first couple of years that you try to do this jam, which is again, why Kundalini is so important, because you think about breath and arm work and other things. So you're not just only hearing that voice, you're moving the energy. So you're not just like only listening to your subconscious thoughts. That comes to the surface. And eventually we get to the point where we start to give some compassion for the fact that a lot of our decisions are being made from the subconscious place that we neglect, that we don't hear, that's running in the background of our lives, the movie screen of our lives. And then we start to look at it more like a movie screen. And we're like, oh, got it. That's still there. And then it becomes informative. And you think, why have I been thinking about my ex from when I was 15 that I haven't thought about in 20 years? Mm-hmm. And you're like, I wonder if there's like an unhealed part of my heart that needs to address something. Maybe there's a lesson that I haven't figured out from that relationship. And you can look at it more of like, oh, I feel really bad because I'm married and I'm thinking about my ex from when I'm 15, and more of like, wait, there's a part of my heart and my soul that's thinking about this human. I wonder if I should journal about this later. I wonder if there's something that like my heart's trying to tell me, that there's an unhealed part of me that I want to heal. Maybe not, but okay, that's information. And maybe I'll choose to journal about it later. And then you just watch the movie screen go by. Right. And you think, oh, yep, I got to do that on my list. No problem. I'll think about that later. Like no judgment. You just start to watch all these thoughts go by, and you start to look at them without judgment and without giving them aggressive attention in the moment, and not popping out of your meditation to write down notes. And you just start to kind of ease in to that background noise and ease into that background noise and let that energy move and let those thoughts move. Allow your subconscious to come to your conscious and just keep moving through and keep moving through. And the reason why we first started talking about this was in kind of the New Year's resolutions part. And I talk about this at the very beginning of the book, because you'll notice that when it's like you start to do things consciously. If we're going to use the analogy of the full season again, right? You start at the beginning of January, because we're talking New Year's resolution wise. You start at the beginning of January and you move through it. You're very conscious about it. You get up every day, you put your sneakers on, right? You do whatever action that you're going to do. You set your intention, you do it. You start, like we talked about, you start to see results a month in, right? So you start to feel good, right? Mm-hmm. You're like, what's one piece of cake tonight? Like, that's no big deal. 2 glasses of wine is totally fine. Like, I feel good, right? That is because your subconscious starts to seep back in, because you've started to make these decisions that you're seeing results on. You're feeling good. Your guard gets let down a little bit. And so your subconscious is like, remember when we used to do that? Like, no big deal. Like, this will be totally fine. And you don't even realize you're doing it, right? And then all of a sudden at dinner, like, you're like, maybe I'll just do this one thing, because you're not intentionally thinking about the thing that you were doing the first like 3 weeks of this trial, this resolution, of this intention, whatever it is. And then your subconscious starts to creep back in. So by the time most people get to Valentine's Day, New Year's resolutions are done, because all that subconscious programming, we're right in the middle, like the 40-day mark. Like I call it the top of the mountain. Mm-hmm. And nobody taught me this term. This is just like how my brain works in the cyclical, right? Like it's like you're hiking up the mountain, tension and tension and tension and tension and tension. And then some way around it, if we keep going with intention, we get to the top of the mountain where we maintain that intentionality behind it. And then we start to change the programming of our subconscious to have a new normal. So if we get to right before the top of the mountain and you're like, oh, but it's been 2 hours and you're like, I don't want to go anywhere. And you're like, forget it. I'm just going to turn around and walk back down. We miss the mountaintop. We miss the sunrise. We miss the beauty of the expanse of that peak of the mountain that we worked so hard to get almost there to, not realizing it was 10 more minutes, right? Like, oh, if it's 2 more hours, my body won't take it. I'm not going to be able to do it today. And so we turn around and we walk back down instead of not knowing that like literally in 10 minutes, we're at the top. And everything that we've done is totally worth it. And then think about it, when you reach the top of a mountain, if you've ever been on a hike and you see the water or the trees or that sunrise and that sunset or just the beauty and the expansiveness of nature, then when you walk down, you're like, man, that was great, right? You feel accomplished. You're intentional with your steps. You're not just like mindlessly walking down. You're making sure you don't fall as you walk down the mountain. You're thinking about things as you go, right? You're watching your steps. You're paying attention to the beauty. You're not focusing so hard on going up and up and up. So when we give ourselves the grace of like, okay, let's think about it like a season. We'll go through that, the dip, our subconscious starts to come in where our old programming starts to take over and our old habits try to come back in. If we double down on that consistency and we get to the top of the mountain, by the time we get to 40 days, there's like the sweet spot of being like, oh, okay, I got it. In order to keep this going, I got to keep going. Right. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to quit now. I got this far. And you're like, okay, subconscious, like, yeah, we wanted to give up, but you know what? Like, we did that. We've been doing this for 40 days. We're good. Right. Yeah. We did that for 40 days. We can do it for 40 more. Like, ain't no thing. And then you go and you step down the mountain carefully, right? You step down one foot in front of the other very carefully with the same intention, creating new habits, creating new things. And then by the time you get to the bottom of the season, that is now your programming. That is now your subconscious thought. That is now a newly formed habit that you will take with you forever. And the reason why people also fail with these resolutions is because they try to change everything at once.
Yeah.
Think about it. If we can think about it from the yogic science about it, you got 4 chances at like, maybe if it's a really ingrained programming, I do not want to make the stigma that like, oh, if you've eaten poorly for 50 years of your life, you're going to be able to do it in 3 months. Let's be honest, it's going to take you a year at a minimum, right? Because that is like deep, deep subconscious that you're going to get to a certain point, like peeling that onion. And maybe you changed one little component of that habit by the time you ended the first season, then you're going to have to start changing another one. It's going to be another uphill hike. Next one. And then it's going to be get that. Okay. I'm a little bit better about that. Now it's going to be another uphill hike, but there's some grace in knowing that that's the cycle. There's some freedom and knowing that you don't all of a sudden get to the end of it and then it's easy street. There's some foundational, like truly grace that you're like, I can give myself grace because it's in a peak and a valley and a peak and a valley and a peak and a valley over and over and over again. And I know that. So it has nothing to do with me for reaching a peak or a valley. It's just part of the cycle.
Yeah. I love that. I love how you just broke that all the way down. I guess in a way, I've kind of thought about it that way in some forms and in others, but I love how you just demonstrated that because it kind of makes you see it in a different light, your conscious and your subconscious and how to, double down on it. As I was reading the book, you kind of talk about, I'll say this, after kind of doing some research on yoga and Kundalini yoga, some people have their own opinions about it and they kind of feel certain ways about it. What would you say? And one thing I kind of saw that kept coming up about it, that is very dangerous. What do you say about that?
Yeah. So this is Kundalini yoga is an energy moving experience. So just like what we talked about, it is about intention. It is about safe parameters. It is about opening the energy field and closing it, right? This is how we move through this modern life. We are not 50 years ago would not have the amount of information bombarded at us from every angle as it was before, and we need, as a collective, to be more intentional and more conscious about our energetic boundaries, just as people are talking about boundaries in other ways. Because opening the gate to have that experience to process your emotions and then closing it right back up again, right? Working with whatever energy you need. There is a way where you can start to like move all this energy and you're leaving yourself free open, and like people just go down a rabbit hole and it happens too fast and you're not ready to process it. It's just like knowing yourself enough to open that book and read part of it and say, not today. That is power. Truly, that is power. To know yourself enough that like in this moment, it is not time. That is where it gets dangerous, is when we don't know ourselves enough and we don't have the intention behind it to say, no, this is me first. This is self-love first. This is self-protection. Like, no, you do not come into this house. No way, man. Like, this is about me saying, you know what? I'm doing this for myself, right? And I'm doing this for the world because I'm doing it for myself, and I will show up in my power and I will show up in my strength. And like, if I am not ready, you could make that prayer. I ask only like what my body is ready to digest and heal to occur today.
Yeah.
No further. And you call on whomever and whatever you believe in to walk with you in that journey. There are some people who come into this world, energetic boundaries wide open. And there are a lot of not nice humans in this world. Right? There's a lot of really bad juju and energy out there. And especially if you are going to embark in any form of spiritual practice, Kundalini or otherwise, where you are opening yourself to be a channel for the divine, to hear messages, like to hear your highest self, to show up and work through really deep emotional things, it is important to have boundaries in your physical space, in your gender space, and your emotional space, and your mental space, and your heart space, and every space, to know like you, and I don't mean this from a ego society space. I mean this from saying, I am only ready to work with what is for my highest and best today. I'm only ready to digest what is meant to be digested. That's it. No further. And set the boundary and say, like, I am giving myself dedicated time to process my feelings and my emotions. And I'm creating a safe container in it. And I'm creating a safe container within my physical space with the people that surround me, with their energy. And I'm creating an energetic space with whomever and whatever is also surrounding me on another plane, and saying, not today. Like, I am creating this is only for my highest and best, for the highest and best of the world. Everyone else, thank you, but I send you into the light. And it is so important, if you are a highly sensitive person, to think about that stuff on a daily basis. Because you get worked over the coals as somebody who knows, right? As somebody who has had that happen to her, like, you will get ripped a new one 10 ways till Sunday if we cannot learn how to put up energetic boundaries around ourselves in a kind, loving, respectful way, not from a place of fear. It's just so important. This is not like I am scared for other people to come into my energy. It is like, I am a safe and sovereign being. I am divine. I am powerful. I am love. I am light. I am kindness. I am compassion. I am abundance. And I stand in my power. And I'm only here for that of the highest and best of myself, highest and best of my loved ones, highest and best of all. All others, I ask you to please leave, and I send you into the light.
Yeah.
That's it. And Kundalini moves energy. Now, this is one of the reasons why I say start with 3 minutes of meditation to heal addictions first, and just do it for a month. Don't do anything else. Like, just do that and allow your energy to slowly shift and see what happens. And I'll give you, even that is so powerful. I'll give you an example. A year or two ago, I decided I was going to start on the New Year's with meditation to heal addictions. I didn't know what it was, right? I didn't know what was going to happen. I have no addiction in particular, but I was like, let me just do this every morning first thing. This is going to be what I'm going to do for the next 3 months. And by Valentine's Day, one morning I said, holy crap, I haven't had coffee in a week. I was like, wait, what? Well, I love coffee, by the way. It's delicious. And I thought, like, oh my gosh, coffee was a low-hanging addiction that I didn't even realize I had. Like, and I was like, you know what? I've been a lot nicer to myself. Like, that's kind of cool. But
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. The second that I realized I didn't have coffee, I went right out and had coffee. Like, hello, my subconscious came to my conscious and I was like, yes, I would like some coffee right now. But the point is that was a low hanging fruit that I didn't even realize was there. And then when I really thought about it, I was like, wow, I've been a lot nicer to myself for the last like month and a half. I haven't been as mean, right? I haven't been unkind. Like, well, that's kind of cool. And it's just information, and then you move forward. And there is a lot of stigma around that because like there is no one size fits all. There is no magic pill. There is no guru. Like, I am not a guru. I'm not a whatever. Like, I am just somebody who is having this like, human experience just like everyone else, right? Like, we are our own best guru. We are our own best advocate. We are our own best like lover, best friend, employee. We are our own best anything first and foremost. And there are so many people who have had traumatic experiences, myself included, right? Who sometimes just want to be held and just want to be loved and just want to be shown kindness and compassion. And unfortunately, a lot of people prey on that vulnerability. And if you are a loving and open person, our greatest strengths can also be our greatest form of heartbreak, right? Like, if you show up vulnerably, you can have some of the most magic experiences and connections with other humans that you would never believe. But if you show up vulnerably without having done the work on yourself first, you open yourself up to people who do not have the best of intentions for you.
That is very, very, very true. I'm so happy that you mentioned that. And I like how you say this for us, like beginners that are new to Kundalini yoga, just so that our listeners kind of understand that haven't been exposed to Kundalini yoga. So you can do Kundalini is as far as like exercise, body work, as well as meditations as well, right?
Yeah. Like, if you do Subha Kriya, you will sweat. You will take your arms down and be like, holy of the mothers. Like, what was that? You will have to drop your arms the first couple of times you do Subha Kriya because you are raising them in the air, squeezing them, doing other stuff. And you're like, when will these 3 minutes be over? I did not realize this 3 minutes of this Kriya could make my arms hurt so much, right? Like, it can be a workout. Like the frogs, I challenge anyone to do the frog exercises and tell me 10 of them in who've never done them before. You are not sweating and thinking, what did this woman just try to make me do? Like, is she off her rocker? They are like, because you're going up and down. And it seems like the simplest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. You're literally kind of squatting like a frog and then straightening your legs and like doing breath work and going up and down from like a squat position to a forward fold, squat position to a forward fold. Try to do that 10 times. Tell me what happens. Try to do it 30 times. Tell me what happens. Try to do it for 3 minutes straight. You will be sweating and cursing my name. You'll be like, you have got to be kidding me right now. Because it's also muscles and stuff that you're not used to using. It's tough. It can be really, really tough, but it's also all of it taps back into some form of meditative practice. And that is the cool thing about it, because we intentionally push ourselves to a limit in a safe container. And then we push through that discomfort, we push through that pain, and then our body starts to re-regulate in a way that when we come against those hard and difficult situations in our daily life, we no longer dip fully into flight and fight and freeze, because our body knows that we've come against those intentionally difficult situations and we come out the other side and we're fine and we're safe and we're alive. So the more you start to do that, the more we start to train our bodies to push ourselves to that edge, and our subconscious programming shifts to understand that even in those times, we are okay.
I love that. Is it true? This is just what I've kind of read, that when you mentioned the one that you move your arms and you're constantly saying God, is it, because I was looking at doing research on the different myths and stuff. Does that mean with Kundalini yoga means sustainer of all God? Is that the right meaning? Is that the right research I read? I'll say that.
Well, there's a translation. So everything is done and not English, right? Like, it's the divine, it's like how Kundalini yoga and all yogic sciences are based on these ancient texts called the Vedas, right? That are translated or written down in the tongue of the times, right? So this is a modern translation of it into English. I I am grateful for all translations, but think about it in the way that, think about how many people have translated the Bible in different ways.
You're right.
Right.
Yes.
It is man's interpretation, the human experience's interpretation of something that was divinely orchestrated. And when I say whomever and whatever you believe in, I believe that in every heart and fiber and being in my soul. Like, I honestly believe that whatever resonates with you, that gets you to your highest self, to your highest truth, to your most authentic self, which I truly believe everyone's authentic self is beautiful and kind and divine and all of these things. So like, in my belief system, my heart of hearts, that is what I know to be true. And if that translation resonates with whomever, that is great. If it doesn't, leave it. Right. Yeah. Like, I really, truly believe that. It's like why I say Kundalini is not the only thing. If it doesn't resonate with you, great. Try something else. No big deal. You read the book, maybe you learn some of the science of it, and that's all that it is. And you never do another technique for the rest of your days. Fine. No big deal. Maybe that's not the thing that's going to click for you. And it's just like somebody's going to translate the Bible or the Quran or any of these things, right? Like, you're going to translate these things in a certain way. And it might resonate with you. And then you read something else and it might resonate with you. Like, this past year I read Mary Magdalene Revealed, to go back to the Christianity spin on things. And this person's again, I love learning. I love hearing other people's experiences, their interpretation and their explanation of Mary Magdalene and her experience and her influence and stuff was profound. I was like, wow, this is something I've never heard before. And it was beautifully done and respectfully done and articulately done, that still held kindness and compassion for anybody else's experience of it. It's a great, great book. And I was like, that's beautiful. There was no part of that made me pick that up and be like, this is the only way, and I think with those translations, like, take what resonates with you and take what doesn't. So one of the misconceptions there, or at least I should say, this was how I learned the difference between mantras and affirmations when I was I was going to bring it up too, so sure, if you can explain it. Yeah. And this is purely from my teachings there. Again, this is how I learned it. Take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. Right. And with anything and everything that I say, I truly believe that whatever you remember is what you're meant to remember. Right. And whatever resonates with you is what was meant to hit you in your heart center that day. So mantras are sacred sounds of the universe. Right. Om, which is pronounced much differently than most people believe or use, is supposedly the most sacred sound, the sound of all things, of all light beings, of all everything in the world. Like, it is the universal sound, Om. And it's one of the seed mantras, one of the bija mantras, which are like and this goes, we're going down the rabbit hole of Kundalini at the moment, but this goes down the rabbit hole of the science of mantras, which is its own science, which, like, the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that goes in direct alignment with the sounds of the bija mantras that go with each of the chakras, like the interconnectivity between all things. Like, to be able to be like, Sound of Music is in this book. You want to know why Sound of Music is in this book? Like, it's because, like, I just find that so cool, because it proves we're so connected and everybody's explaining it in a different way. So in some ways, there are these seed mantras or these bija mantras, which are those single syllables, which there's a different one that resonates with each one of the chakras. And each one of the chakras, when you do that, is also on the same note as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So you're like, wow, somehow that truth has translated in yogic science. It's translated in the foundation of all music, right? Like, in the vibrations that things, like, every single one of these things are connected. And mantras are these sacred sounds and these sacred vibrations, because that's what they are. They're vibrations that literally kind of clean your body from the inside out, right? It shakes loose the gunk, right? All of that stuff that's stuck in those cells and those parts of your body and those feelings and those joints and those muscles, it helps kind of shake them out. And I can tell you that they are something that I resonate with, like I said, so deeply. Not everybody does, but like, if I'm vacuuming, I'll put a mantra, like a mantra, like sound in the background. And if anybody wants on my Spotify, that's public. I've got mantra playlists and playlists for magnificent meditation and stuff like that. You can use it completely free, whatever you would like to use it for. But the mantra,
I'll list it in the show notes if we can get that link, and I'll put that in there. Okay.
Of course. So these sounds or these vibrations that hit us on an energetic level. Affirmations are saying, I am love. I deserve love. I am joy. I attract joy. I'm abundant. I attract abundance, right? I am light. I attract light. Those are affirmations. Those are our modern tongue, our modern language, reaffirming to ourselves over and over again, because what we're trying to do is we're taking that conscious thought and we're making it subconscious, which also works. There's nothing wrong with affirmations. Affirmations are amazing. You wake up every single day and you're like, I am so thankful and grateful for being alive. Thank you, universe, for bringing me joy and happiness into my life every day. Thank you for allowing me to meet beautiful and kind human beings that add value to my life. Thank you for allowing me to show up authentically in this world. Thank you for allowing me to attract abundance in every form. Thank you for financial abundance. Thank you for this. Like, I am love, I attract love. I am joy, I attract joy. I am peace, I attract peace, right? Like, and you do this every day. You're taking those conscious thoughts and you're making them subconscious, which is amazing. But mantras are different because there are these sacred sounds that literally create these vibrations within our body that vibrate from the inside out and create a vibration, almost like skipping a stone, like a ripple effect out into the world in that regard. So a lot of people say, oh, did you say your mantra? But what they really mean is their affirmation, which to me, half dozen of another. Like, it's important to know what one is, but if somebody uses it interchangeably, but they have the same intention behind it, again, like, take what works and leave what doesn't. Like, once Maya, right? Once you learn better, you know better. And once you know better, you do better. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, that's cool, I never knew that. Like, okay, I'll call it an affirmation from here on out. Great. If you're like, I don't care, I still like mantra. Great. Like, it doesn't matter to me. If it's helping you, it'll help you. Like, go for it. Like, I'm not here to be the mantra police. Like, I don't care if you use mantra versus affirmations. Like, if it is helping you, run with it. Like, use it. Go. Great.
I like that. I love that. Actually, instead of with the Wealth and Wellness podcast, that was one of the ideas behind me wanting to do that, was because wealth looks very different to all of us and wellness looks different to all of us. So use what works best for you to your advantage. I wanted to be able to provide a variety of different things that you can do where you probably hadn't thought about, just so you can experience in life. Because like I said, wealth doesn't look the same for some people as money. Some other people is just happiness and success. Wellness doesn't look the same for everyone. So thank you for explaining that.
Yeah. An important caveat with that too, is it's different for every season of your life.
Yeah.
Like, so give yourself grace in the fact that you are a continually evolving, growing, and beautifully conscious, like, being that will change from today till tomorrow. So the important thing is like, this is why I stress so much about this toolbox or this tool belt or this backpack, and why I am like, the book, like, I don't even want to say the name, but like, I've got this book that's like in my being that I want to, like, I know needs to get out, which this is another divine sign that, like, I need to write this other book that has a lot more of these modalities in it, because pick up what works and use it until it doesn't. And then gently put it back in your backpack, in your tool belt, whatever, gently lend it like a book that is loved and worn and written all over to a friend. Let them use it, let them explore it. And then if you want it back, ask for it back, right? There are going to be times when something resonates with you on a level that you could not even imagine. And then you do it for 3 months and 6 months and a year or 6 years or 20 years. And then you're like, you know what? I need to try something different. Think about it with exercise, right? I moved to LA and I was going hard. I was like, I got to get this house set up. I've got to do these things. I've got to get whatever. I've got to get stable. I've got to do all this stuff. And it got to the point that by November, I was like, yo, I cannot, like, I needed to be on the Peloton every day and stuff because it helped me work through my emotions. And I was going fast and I was hard and I was really in my masculine energy. And I was like, all right, I got to keep up. So I've got to digest these emotions really rapidly. So I'd like work out really hard. And then I got to November and I was like, yo, you need to chill, right? Like, okay, My house is finally set up, deep breath. Like, okay, I've kind of understood where my neighborhood is, got that. I know how I need to drive to work, like, got that. Like, okay, I understand a little bit more how LA is coming out of this pandemic. Like, things got a little bit. And I was like, okay. And my body was just like, and that's a hard no. We are not setting foot on that Peloton anymore. We need a minute. So every morning instead, for like 3 months now, because we're now at the end of January and I just got on the Peloton again for the first time the other day. I did like a gentle yoga Pilates every morning. And I said, I'm still going to pay my body first. I'm still going to give my body something, but I'm going to slow it down and I'm going to nurture it. And I'm going to honor the fact that my body needs to recoup from all of the hard things it just did. I'm going to honor it. I'm going to give it grace. I'm going to give it love. I'm going to be soft and gentle with it right now. And there will be a day when I'm like, you know what? It's time to kick it up a little bit more. It's time to hit the gas. And I'm not just going to float down the lazy river, right? Like we're going to go down the river slide. Like we're going to go big at another point, but that is not today. And I'm going to be respectful and show myself love and listen to my body and know that that's not what it needs right now. So think of that from your wellness toolkit, from your financial toolkit. There'll be sometimes when you need to save money because you have a goal, or there's sometimes when you need XYZ. And sometimes when wellness, like you have a space in your life where you're able to go down the rabbit hole and go deep. And there are times when only 5 minutes is all you're going to get. To all the people in the pandemic with kids right now, like God love you. I mean, 5 minutes may be all you get, and you may be locking yourself in a closet. Like Glennon Doyle talks about how which if anybody doesn't know Glennon Doyle, she's phenomenal. Like I love her and Abby and her sister and their podcast.
Yeah.
Things, they're fantastic. But like Glennon talks about how she wrote her like books and all of her stuff started in the closet because she literally had young baby kids and would get up at 4 a.m. and knew that like something about her needed to get these words out of her body. That was how she processed her emotions and what was happening to her. She locked herself in the closet. Her last book, where she doesn't have young kids anymore and doesn't need to be in a closet, she wrote her entire last book, which I actually have right here. I think Untamed. It's right here on the bookshelf. Like her book, like she wrote it in the closet. She was like, I had to. Like, I don't know, magic things happened to me in the closet. That was her safe space. Like, but think about it, what we were just talking about it, to put in different terms. That was her safe container. This was her safe container in that closet where she could be free and open and let her emotions flow and really be of service to herself and others through her words. And she created that in a closet. If that's what you need, go in closet, meditate. Again, like no judgment, like trust your gut. This is all about trusting your gut and connecting to your highest self. And with that intention of the highest and best for yourself and highest and best for all. And if it feels weird and it feels strange and you could only meditate in the back of a dark closet at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're hiding from your kids, hoping they don't wake up from slumber, do it. Embrace it fully. Step into it and be like, this is really strange, but we're just going to go with it. Right. And just
I love that.
Honor it.
I love that. That's one of the books by her I really wanted to get, but I love that. I needed that, and I'm sure some of our other listeners need to hear that as well. Before we go, I do want to, because we were giving away a copy of the book, the Kundalini yoga book, Demystified, and we did the Wheel of Names, so no one feel like I was giving preferential treatment. The only preferential treatment that I did was to our email list only. So if you're not on the All Women Rock email list, you can go to our website and sign up at the bottom. So all of our email list got the opportunity to enter to win. We had a lot of ladies that entered. So we did a Wheel of Names online, and the 2 ladies that we selected, I'm not going to give the last name on the podcast, but it was Angela and Erica. As I said, I'm not going to do last names, and an email will be sent out to both Angela and Erica for entering to win a copy of the Kundalini Yoga Demystified book. So be on the lookout for your emails, lady, and be sure to check your spam. So congratulations, ladies.
Yay. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I've read, this book was very eye-opening for me, and I feel like I needed it in so many ways. Yeah, it was very beneficial to me. So I thank you so much for taking time. I know writing a book can be challenging, so I truly appreciate the time and effort you put into writing this book and making it simple for someone like me that doesn't know a lot about yoga to be able to understand and know better about the mantras and what everything means. So I truly, truly appreciate it. I wanted to know, are you interested in taking this further with like demonstration videos?
Yeah,
I think you kind of mentioned it earlier, but I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I absolutely do. This is one of the ways that I can be of service for sure. And I can show up fully. I know when I can sit in smaller dialogue and in smaller community like this. I love retreats. I love workshops. I love really diving into the meat of it. Like I said, like my strength is not to be the one that's going to teach you every morning, right? But to do this in a way where I can set the intention. I can be fully present. I can do like what I did with the book, right? And download it and look at it and write it and rewrite it and really just continue to tap back into my heart center. And I know that is all of the things that I have been through in my life are the foundation for the fact that like I am meant to be of service. I am meant to show up and help and be that light in the darkness. And I hope nobody takes that in an arrogant way. Like, I mean that completely selflessly, right? Like to be a touch point, to at least show that there can be another way, but everyone has to answer their own call. Right. And I hope that by listening to the podcast, you understand that like my intention is purely one of love, and it is purely one that accepts you to come as you are, he, she, them, or other, right? Like whatever and however you identify in this exact moment, space, and time, you're whole, you're beautiful, you're perfect exactly as you are. And that is the vibration and the energy behind this book. And even if you never open it and you put it on a shelf, everything is energy, and that energy will vibrate into your life. And if you see it in a bookstore and that energy is vibrating to you from the bookstore, and it is all about, for me, it is about creating something that is going to live on, that can continue to be positive change, regardless of if I'm standing next to you or if I'm no longer on this earthly plane. And that is my pure and soul intention behind it. So to answer your question, yes, I want to do those other things in life. And I have no doubt that if that is what I meant to do, I will be giving the opportunities to show up fully in that regard, in a way where I'm not like managing a different job and other things, right? Like, and it will show up as it's meant to, so that I can have the space to be fully present. I can have the space to give of myself, but only, like we said, right? After I've taken the time to do my own work first and put those boundaries around myself and hold that container, because it's a lot of energy, right? Like, if you think Kundalini is quote unquote dangerous for one person, think about trying to open your heart and soul to the world, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a very intense and energetic experience. And for me, as a highly sensitive being, it takes a lot of intentionality behind it. And it takes a lot of self-care work to make sure that when I show up fully. And I have made the commitment, first and foremost, to myself, that I will not forsake myself ever again. And it's like the whole idea that we don't break promises to other people. So why would we not break? Why do we break promises to ourselves, right? You do everything for work that you say you're going to do, but yet you skip something that you know is beautiful and loving that you wanted to do for yourself. And it's that idea of, it's like when people say people have high standards. Somebody asked me the other day, like, what does that mean? Like, as a single woman who would not like to be a single woman and who would very much like to birth children, if that is my path in this lifetime with a loving partner. People were asking, talking about that because, there's the stigma of women of a certain age. Like I said, I'm 39, right? That has not been my journey thus far. I've had to learn a lot of these other lessons and birth my own quote. People say birthing a book is like birthing a baby. I'm not in any way short of like diminishing that or saying that. That's just like an analogy that's kind of out there in the world. But you do put a lot of your heart and soul into it. And I believe that I have had to do these things first, right? In order to be at a place where I can show up, not only of service to others, but of service to that own intimate family unit that I also very much crave. And, when someone asked me that recently, they're like, well, what does it mean? Like, what do people think if you have high standards? And I said, high standards for me only means that I refuse to forsake myself again. I refuse to abandon myself. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in the most loving way, that I will continue to do my own self-care practices, and I will continue to do things that bring me joy. And I will continue to do things that are of service, because that is important to me. And if another partner comes into my life that complements that, and I continue and I teach, I consider myself straight, right? So if there is a man that comes into my life that adds to that, in a beautiful and loving way, that like nurtures me and my path in this lifetime and helps me learn and grow. And I nurture him and his path in this lifetime, and I help him learn and grow. And we do that together, and we create this collective, beautiful change in the world. Like, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, if we don't continue to like hold each other with love and compassion and elevate, and I have to forsake parts of myself or hide parts of myself or diminish my light because it makes somebody else uncomfortable, or any of the other verbs and words that you might put in there, like, that's what I mean. Like, I will no longer self-abandon. I won't do it. I love myself too much from that deep, intimate, loving, knowing place, that I know I'm worthy of love and kindness and compassion and respect, just as every other person is. And if I can't show myself love, kindness, compassion, and respect, I am not able to give that to anybody else. Whether it be a child on my own, right? Like, whether it be a partner, whether it be a beautiful podcast interview like this, if I can't love myself first, how am I able to mirror that love to anybody else in this world?
I love that. Love yourself first. Yes. I love it. So for our listeners here, where can they find out more about you? The links will be listed in the show notes, where you guys can download her playlist on Spotify, as well as purchase the books. But where can we find you on social media and your website information?
So the title of my book, and on the front of my book, it says at the top, Erin Elizabeth Downing. And the reason why I go by the Elizabeth, my mom is no longer here with us on this earthly plane, but she always said that even when she was really, really young, she knew she was going to have a daughter, and she knew she was going to name her Erin Elizabeth. So I go by that always, in honor of her. So, and as long as you know my middle name, again, Erin Elizabeth Downing, you can pretty much find me anywhere on ErinElizabethDowning.com, Instagram, and Erin Elizabeth Downing. My Spotify is Erin Elizabeth Downing. Like, as long as you know all three, you're good. You can find me pretty much anywhere. And that's it. I do that in honor of her. And I hope that makes it easy for everyone else to share and to get any of the information. And again, if it resonates with you, that's beautiful. If it doesn't, that's okay too. You know, like, purely for your highest and best, my highest and best, Mary's highest and best of all. And like, if you got this far in this podcast, like, God bless you. We are so grateful for you. And we hope that it made a positive, energetic shift in your life, because the two of us are creating this container intentionally to be of service and to show up with love. And if it resonates with you, we'd love for you to share it, right? And give Mary all the likes and all the good reviews as well, because she's putting herself out here for this beautiful work in the world too. And the more that we can just show our appreciation for those things and keep paying it forward, the better it is for all of us as a collective.
I agree. Erin, I call you Erin Elizabeth. But Erin, thank you so much for joining us today on the Wealth and Wellness Podcast by All Women Rock. I thank you so much.
No, thank you. It's truly an honor. Like, it's a real gift to share space with you. You were just this beautiful light of a human being, and I am eternally grateful that we met, and I'm glad that we are continuing to do life together in this way and others. And I'm just really grateful for you and for your audience and for the opportunity.
Yep. Same here. Hey girl, hey, did you enjoy today's episode? I sure did. I gained so many insightful nuggets from Erin. I love when she talked about how consistency compounds. And then when we talked about giving yourself grace, I personally struggle with that pretty bad, not knowing how to give myself grace when I mess up and thinking everything has to go perfect or has to go Tamara's way. And I am learning, if I want to receive grace, I got to give myself grace as well. Another one that she talked about, listening to our subconscious and staying consistent. So insightful, so helpful. I could go on and on talking about different nuggets I picked up from her, but I absolutely love this interview. I love Erin, and I want you guys to show your support by clicking the link that's listed in the show notes and purchase her book, Kundalini Yoga Demystified. Even if you don't practice yoga, you might know someone that does, or possibly someone that is interested in learning more about it. Go purchase the book for them. It takes you directly to Amazon, and you can just purchase it from there. And I forgot to mention earlier, we had 2 winners. 2 ladies that won a free copy of her book. See, now, you have to be subscribed to the All Women Rock newsletter in order to know about our free giveaways. If you're wondering, now, Tamara, how do I do that? Go to allwomenrock.com, scroll to the bottom of the website, and you can subscribe to our newsletter. We only announce this giveaway to our email subscribers only, not on social media. Only to our email subscribers. So head over to allwomenrock.com and subscribe to our newsletter and go purchase Erin's book. Until next time, ladies.